Hey, all you Yinzes out there, welcome back to DIY Nat. The next step in the restoration of the Walker Turner jigsaw was to take the motor apart, but I had some technical troubles and I lost the video on it. So when we reassemble it, you'll see more detail about it, but quickly I'm going to show you the parts already disassembled and just give you a few pieces of information on it. And as I said, once we put it back together, you'll see how all the parts came together and you can take it apart. So let me show you just the major assemblies that go into an electric motor. So most small electric motors have a sheet metal center section and two end bells. Depending on how heavy duty it is, they might either be castings, which they are in this case, or a stamping. And what happens is there is a long rod that goes through the case, and there's nuts on the end of it, and once you take them out you can take the case apart. So the center section is going to have the stator winding in it. That's the part that's stationary, and then this is the rotor or armature, if you want to say that, and this is an iron core. And the electric field that goes through the winding in here creates a magnetic field which causes this to turn around. And you'll also note that has a fan blade on it to cool everything. And over here there is a centrifugal starter switch which changes the way the electricity goes through the coil when you start it up. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on that right this minute, but maybe at some point we'll discuss that further, how that works. But that's what that is. And in this particular case, one of the bells has openings to access the electrical connections, and there's a plate inside this one which fits in there like that, and the wires coming in from the house power, the input cord on it, connects to this. And there are this one had several terminals, and some of the wires were on the same terminal. So what I did was I made a little note of what went where, and on this particular one they were nice enough, I don't know if you can see that or not, some of the wires have a little brass sleeve on them, and those brass sleeves have numbers on them which correspond to some letters on the contact plate. So if you do take one of these apart, make sure that you make a note of how it's connected, and they may not have those little numbered sleeves on there, so label all the wires with a piece of tape or something so that you know what corresponds to what, so that when you go to put it back together you don't have a problem with it. So that's basically all there is to the motor, and all we're going to do is sand the crud off here, paint the outside of this, we'll mask off the inside. Do the same thing with the two end bells, and that'll spruce it up. It works fine because we had it running before. I did make one goof, I wasn't thinking about it. On the most motors today will have a ball bearing inside. These have bronze sleeve bearings on them, which need to be lubricated. Ball bearings on most motors are sealed and they don't need the lubrication. So I don't think I'm going to be able to see that too well, but there is a small fitting here which it broke off, but there's supposed to be a little oil cup with a little lid on it that snaps shut, and you occasionally put some drops of machine oil in there, and that's what lubricates the shaft. Now, I had a brain fart, as I said, and these were very greasy, and I put them in simple green to get the grease off, and I forgot that inside that passage and down to where the bearing is, those are packed with a woven cotton cord. And what happens is you shove all that's all packed in there, and then when you drip the oil on there, it saturates into this, and this puts a controlled amount of oil onto the shaft of the motor and into the bearing. So if I had remembered before I cleaned these, I would not have put them in the simple green, because what happened is now these are all contaminated and I had to pull them out. So it's going to be a bit of a nuisance to have to shove all that back in here. You can see how big those lumps are, and all that has to be packed. I got to get new cotton, and all that's going to have to be packed back into those oil slots. So a bit of it, and you can see right now I got oil over me because that was on there. So I didn't want to leave that like that, because you could potentially, if that is contaminated with that stuff and it's not oiling properly, could potentially seize the motor. So I don't want to do that. The bearings themselves actually look pretty good. There's no scoring or anything on them. That's soaked with oil, as you can see, so that's well lubricated. And the shafts don't have any particular wear on them either. There's some minor scratches on them just because it's been running for many years. But anyway, that's how lubrication on this works. And as I said, it's pretty easy to take the motor apart. Just make sure you keep track of those wires. And I will shoot some more video of us. There's a little more cleaning has to be done on that. I will shoot video of that and shoot video of how to paint this thing. I was going to leave this till later in the project and get back to the main castings, but because I lost that video, and I think I will try to take care of this next, and just this way you will see how it goes together. So if you need to take one apart, you'll have more detail on it. So that's it for there. Thanks for watching as always, and thanks for following along with the project, and we'll see you next time.